welcome to the channel. I'm back to break down this 8-game MLB DFS slate on DraftKings and FanDuel. Definitely an exciting slate today. Lots of money to be won across the industry, so excited to get into the breakdown. If you do enjoy the content at any point in this video, if you could please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, that would be greatly appreciated. And then don't forget to stay tuned to the end of the video for my home run call of the day. We nailed it again last time. I'm going with Bo Bichette. Hit another bomb, so love to see it. Looking to keep those on a roll. And then if we reach the like goal of 50 likes, I will be giving you guys my dark horse play of the night tomorrow. My next video, which is going to be my low-owned, sneaky play that could really pay off for you in tournaments. So thank you for all the support so far. The channel continues to grow on the way to 800 subs. And with all that being said, let's get into this breakdown. If you are interested in some premium content, you can get some premium content from me, link below in the description. You get access to all the same tools that I use when building my own lineups. You get access to my starting pitcher data sheet, high hitter status data, splits leaderboard, team hitting data, bullpen data, my power rankings, and my cheat sheet, as well as direct access to me to ask me questions anytime throughout the day, whether it be on Patreon. You can message me on my Google Sheets that I use for my tools, all of the above, as well as the Discord chat. And with that being said, let's go ahead and start breaking down the slate today. As always, we're going to figure out the pitchers that we want to play first. It's fantasy sports. We get points for strikeouts. And the top guy on the slate today, without a doubt, is going to be Mr. Garrett Cole, taking on the Texas Rangers. 38.4% K rate overall, 16.3 swinging strike rate. Great in the hard contact. 35% K rate against righties, and then a 42% K rate against lefties. Absolutely elite stuff. And then when you factor in the matchup, taking on this Texas Rangers squad today, that's been striking out a ton to start the season. Going to have a lot of interesting Garrett Cole for me. Going to have a very difficult time not just locking him in as far as FanDuel is concerned. And then over on DraftKings, he's priced up at 10.9, but he's going to be well worth it in my opinion as well. Last time I took it on a Tampa Bay Rays squad, going 8 innings, 12 Ks, 0 earned runs, and he gets an even better matchup in this one, taking on this Texas Rangers squad. So I would definitely be prioritizing Garrett Cole tonight if I were you guys. Great spot, great pitcher overall for fantasy with that high carry. And then, as mentioned, the Rangers have been striking out a ton this season, so love that spot. Yu Darvish taking on the Colorado Rockies. We always like targeting the Rockies when they're outside of Coors Field, and they are going into San Diego for this one, so he's also an interesting option. 31.3% K overall, 13.4 swinging strike rate, 36.8% K rate against righties, and then a 26.7% K rate against lefties. So we do prefer to target him against right-handed heavy lineups if at all possible. Has a much higher K rate against those right-handed hitters. And unfortunately for him, these Rockies are going to have a few lefties, but pretty much nothing. They're only expected to have 2 lefties in there, which is going to be great for him as far as the matchup's concerned. I really like to see that. That matches up with his splits very well. So he's also going to be a viable option. Comes in at 11-1 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they got him priced at 10-2. And, in a great spot. If there's only going to be 2 lefties in this lineup and you're dealing with a guy that has a 36.8% K rate against righties, that's going to treat you pretty well. So Darvish definitely a good spot tonight. Third on the list, we got Adbert Alzolay taking on these Washington Nationals. Comes in with a 28.9% K overall, 12.3 swinging strike rate, 35.6% K rate against righties, and then against lefties, it's 22.5% K rate. And he does really, really struggle against left-handed hitting, which could be an issue when taking on this Washington squad tonight because these Washington Nationals definitely do have some left-handed bats that can really rake. However, with that being said, it looks like there's going to be about 10-mile-an-hour winds coming in directly from right field, which should treat him very well here because that's actually really ideal for him because those left-handed power bats that like to pull the ball down the right field line are going to be hitting directly into that wind. So as far as a cheapy option and a salary-saving option, I do think that Adbert Alzolay could be interesting because he does have to take on quite a few righties as well. Trey Turner, Josh Harrison, Starlin Castro, Yan Gomes, Victor Robles, and then those lefties as mentioned in Josh Bell, Kyle Schwarber, Juan Soto. Might have to hit into that wind, and it's in Wrigley Field in Chicago, which is the #1 ballpark affected by wind in the league. The way the stadium's designed, that wind really helps when it's blowing out and really hurts when it's blowing in. And then when you're factoring in, looking at the chart here, you can see right field's actually not the best ideal place to be hitting to in the ballpark anyways. Left field much more friendly to those right-handed hitters. So all the stars kind of align for Alzolay in this one as far as all that stuff's concerned. So he could be an interesting option for you that some people may not be on. Walker Buehler taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks, 28.8% K overall, 12.2 swinging strike rate. Does a great job at not walking anyone, a 29.3% K rate against righties, and then a 28.4% K rate against lefties. Really good in the hard contact, ground ball, all that stuff against both sides. He is a little bit worse against those right-handed hitters. He'll have a tendency to give a little bit more hard contact. When you're looking at the Arizona Diamondbacks lineup up and down, they do have quite a few lefties. So once again, another pretty ideal matchup for a guy based upon his splits. Comes in at 9.9 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they're going to price at 10K. And early on, we have quite a few options to be looking to here. Max Fried taking on the New York Mets. Not exactly the highest K rate, but does a great job of keeping the ball on the ground. Ground ball, fly ball guy. Really reliant on the sinker. So throwing that sinking fastball is going to treat him well as far as the ground ball rate is concerned. Taking on a New York Mets squad, that's not exactly the most ideal matchup. But he should be able to go pretty deep into the game, and as mentioned, does do a great job of keeping the ball on the ground. So if you want to go there, I wouldn't call you crazy. 7-2 on FanDuel over on DraftKings. They got him priced at 7-3. Definitely not going to be my top option. We already just went over quite a few guys. You got Madison Bumgarner taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers. He's looked really good as of late, but he's going to have to take on a Dodgers team that we just really don't like to target. Not going to have too much interest in him. But I'm really not going to have really too much interest in any of these guys as we continue along the list here. I mean, you got Kikuchi taking on the Detroit Tigers, who has looked pretty good this year. He only has a 19.1 swing strike rate over the last, or 19.1 K rate over the last 2 years, but has looked really good this year. He's taking on a Detroit Tigers team that I've been looking to target all season long. We saw Kyle Hendricks just have a really good performance against them, and they're a team that we just like to target. So if you wanted to play him today, I wouldn't call you crazy at all. Definitely a ideal matchup for him. Comes in as a 173 favorite today. Priced at 9K on FanDuel. On DraftKings, they get him priced at 7.8. So even a friendlier price tag over here on DraftKings. Has given up 300 runs the last 2 times out, but he's also shown some pretty good K upside at 7 and 11 Ks. And as mentioned, you can't get a much better ideal situation than going up against this Detroit Tigers team. So you could go there, and the last guy that I would mention as far as pitching would be Taijuan Walker taking on the Atlanta Braves. Not exactly the most elite talent on the slate, but he is very splits heavy. A lot more effective against right-handed hitting than he is against lefties, and he's going to be taking on a lineup today in the Atlanta Braves that are very right-handed heavy. The problem is they just really don't strike out that much, and they're a pretty hard lineup to be facing. So if you want to go there, sure. I don't think it's really necessary on the slate today, and that's probably, what I'm going to be looking at as far as pitching is concerned today. With that being said, let's go ahead and transition over to bats. As always, I like to short my sheet by Sierra, skill interactive ERA. It's a good way of determining how good a pitcher's been so far in his career and how good he's expected to be going forward. And the worst on the slate today is going to be Casey Mize taking on the Seattle Mariners. Casey Mize, a clear guy as far as figuring him out. Very splits heavy, very good against right-handed hitting, very bad against left-handed hitting. 554 slugging, giving up 399 wOBA to those lefties, 38.8% ground ball rate, gives up a lot of hard contact, gives up the ball in the air, and definitely going to have some interest in some lefty Seattle Mariner bats tonight. You got the young, talented top prospect, Jared Kelenic, that just came up leading off at the top of the order. He's been a guy that we've been playing a lot because he's been mispriced by these sites. To get a slight price increase on FanDuel, but still pretty respectably priced. And then as far as DraftKings is concerned, let's see where they got priced at. 3K, so still really cheap on DraftKings as well. So leading off, expected to be an elite talent, has shown some upside already in that game where he hit 2 doubles and a bomb. So Kelenic at the top of the order, you got to like him. Kyle Seager in the 3 spot, you got to like him. JP Crawford, Jose Marmolos, and legitimately any lefty that cracks this lineup that has any sort of pop is going to be an interesting option today because Casey Mize has just been that bad against left-handed hitting. And then when you break down the Seattle Mariners ballpark as far as hitting environment is concerned, for these left-handed hitters, as we always like to take a look at, you can see the Mariners ballpark isn't exactly the best ballpark to be targeting for hitting overall, but not the worst either. You got yellow across the board as far as home runs are concerned, so guys with the power that can really get the ball airborne, well, those balls can definitely find their way over the wall. So interest in the Mariners lefties tonight. Jordan Lyles taking on the New York Yankees. You can see across the board, really bad ground ball, fly ball, hard contact rate, walk rate, all the above, really bad. A 455 slugging given up to righties, and then a 506 slugging given up to lefties. Really bad against righties, even worse against lefties. This Yankees lineup is a very right-handed heavy lineup. So unfortunately, we can't get too excited about the lefties, but as mentioned, We don't have to worry about that because he's pretty bad against both sides of the plate. When looking at the ballpark in Texas, it's a great hitting environment as well. The Yankees are going to be on the road. They're going to get that guaranteed ninth inning plate appearance in the top of the ninth. You can see green all over the board as far as Globe Life Field's concerned. And they get to take on a Texas Rangers team that doesn't have the best bullpen either. So definitely liking this Yankee stack today. DJ LeMahieu, Giancarlo Stanton, if he cracks the lineup, he's been dealing with a quad injury. If he's back, gonna love him. Aaron Judge is absolutely on fire. Love him. Gio Urshela, Luke Voigt, Clint Frazier, Brett Gardner. Kyle Higashioka should be behind the plate with Garrett Cole pitching. He has some pop, and then you got Tyler Wade at the bottom of the order, who doesn't exactly have the most pop in the world, but he's got a ton of speed. If he gets his way on base, he definitely has some stolen base upside. So, gotta like the Yankee stack today. Take it on Jordan Lyles. I've mentioned pitching Kikuchi against Detroit. He also does give up some hard contact to right-handed hitting, however, a 501 slugging, 35.3% hard contact rate. Has been a lot better this year, but if you're looking to get sneaky in tournaments, these Detroit Tigers, you could target the right-handed bats. They do have some guys that really crush left-handed pitching, most notably Jonathan Scope, Heimer Candelaria, Miguel Cabrera at the top of the order, Nico Goodrum, Robbie Grossman, and then you got Jacoby Jones at the bottom of the order that hits left-hand pitching really well. And really any righty in the lineup, and that's pretty much everyone in the lineup because they're all switch hitters or right-handed hitters. You can be looking to, not exactly the most excited to go there, to be honest with you. I'd have a lot more interest in this next guy, targeting this next guy, J.A. Happ, taking on the Chicago White Sox. Last time he faced this team, I had a lot of interest, and I'm going to have a lot of interest again. You can see the K rate's not the highest. The ground ball, fly ball stuff's really bad against right-handed hitting specifically. He gives up a 479 slugging, 37.6% hard contact rate, a 334 WOBA. And the ground ball and the fly ball stuff is what really pops off the page, constantly allowing the ball to be hit in the air against the Chicago White Sox team that hits left-handed pitching very effectively. It's a recipe for a scary day for J. Happ, and I'm definitely going to have interest in the Chicago White Sox once again. Looking at their lineup up and down, you can see there does look to be about 9-mile-an-hour winds blowing in Minnesota, which is a little unfortunate. That's less than ideal. But 78 degrees, pretty fairly good hitting weather. The Chicago White Sox only have a 4.25 implied run total, so the ownership should be pretty low on them. And then when looking at the hitting environment as far as Minnesota is concerned, you can see home runs, doubles, singles, all pretty respectable at Target Field. For those right-handed bats, left field can be a little bit tough, unfortunately. But when you got a guy that gives up this many fly balls and an offense with this much power against left-handed pitching, they can still definitely hit some bombs. And with guys like Tim Anderson, Larry Garcia, Yon Moncada, Jose Abreu, Yerman Mercedes, Yasmani Grandal, Andrew Vaughn, Billy Hamilton, Nick Madrigal, up and down. Great stuff. And then I can tell you from my research in the previous matchup, they all profile very well against J. Happ's stuff as far as pitch is concerned. And yeah, gotta have interest in these Chicago White Sox bats. My favorites would be Tim Anderson, Jose Abreu, Yerman Mercedes, Yasmani Grandal, and Andrew Vaughn as far as from a power aspect. But literally up and down this lineup, it's great. Larry Garcia has a lot more power against lefties than he does righties. Yoel Moncada is the only guy that's worse against lefties than he is right-handed pitching. But he's really taken a step forward against lefties this year. He's not the worst play in the world, and he's in the heart of the lineup, so if he's able to smack some doubles and singles for you, hopefully he gets into one over the wall, but even if he doesn't, he can still get you there. Next, we got John Lester taking on the Chicago Cubs, former Chicago Cubs player, now on Washington, 19.8% K rate overall. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's really not good. Gives up a 464 slugging to right-handed hitting, and is very similar to J. Happ, who we just discussed. A lot of ground ball, fly ball issues against right-handed hitting, and some slugging issues given up to right-handed bats as well. And I would really like the Chicago Cubs team a lot more if the wind wasn't blowing in, but it looks like it's more so blowing in from right field. So if anything, it might just maybe push that ball down the line a little bit. If they yank it down the left field line, it might go foul. But I don't think it's going to be as much of an issue targeting right-handed hitting tonight as it is targeting left-handed hitting. And for that reason, I definitely still think that you could be targeting some Chicago Cubs bats tonight. Wilson Contreras, Chris Bryant, Javi Baez, Matt Duffy, David Bodie, Nico Horner up and down the lineup. Those right-handed batters, really going to like them. Not as much interest in the lefties because John Lester does a much better job to left-handed bats. However, he does give up a 440 slugging to lefties with a 336 WOBA. And when you have a hitter like Anthony Rizzo, who's an elite hitter, I don't think that's an issue. And Jock Peterson, same thing. These guys have a lot of pop in their bats. So if you want to go there, be more contrarian, and then when you get to the back of the bullpen, they're probably going to get that matchup against a right-handed arm. I wouldn't call you crazy at all, and I don't hate it. Dallas Keuchel taking on Minnesota, another team that really rakes left-handed pitching. The problem is that Keuchel does a very good job of keeping the ball on the ground. He's a sinker ball thrower that, as mentioned, does a very good job of keeping the ball on the ground. So when I typically would like to target a Minnesota squad against a left-handed pitcher, unfortunately, he doesn't allow the most fly balls, but still viable. Kyle Garlick, Josh Donaldson, Nelson Cruz, Mitch Garver, Jorge Polanco, Miguel Sano, all those guys crush left-handed pitching. So maybe Keuchel doesn't have his best stuff, and it pays off for you in tournaments. So I think it's viable. I wouldn't be prioritizing it as my top stack just because Keuchel's that good at keeping the ball on the ground, as mentioned. But definitely an interesting stack. John Gray taking on the San Diego Padres. Looking at his stuff, ground ball, fly ball stuff's really good. Against righties, he gives up a 386 slugging. Pretty good in the ground ball, fly ball stuff. But against lefties is where he starts to have some issues. A 459 slugging, giving up 39.8% hard hit rate. 340 WOBA against those left-handed bats. And his K rate dips down as well from a 24.1% K rate to a 19.1% K rate. So if you're going to the Padres tonight, you really want to replace those left-handed bats for sure. And my top options would be Trent Grisham, number 1. Jay Cronenworth, you got Brian O'Grady at the bottom. Marsano right now. Victor Caratini with his injuries to the San Diego Padres. But specifically, Trent Grisham and Jay Cronenworth are going to be great options tonight, so you could definitely be looking at them. Taijuan Walker, we had already mentioned his issues against left-handed hitting, so Freddie Freeman on the Atlanta Braves is definitely going to be an interesting option tonight as far as one-off is concerned, and I think he's going to be a viable play, and you can play Ozzie Albies as well, but specifically Freddie Freeman could be an interesting option taking on Taijuan Walker tonight. You got Patrick Sandoval taking on the Cleveland Indians, who does give up a bunch of hard contact, has some ground ball, fly ball issues specifically against left-handed hitting, ironically. He is a left-handed hurler himself, but he gives up a 430 slugging to righties and a 570 slugging to lefties. Has actually been really, really bad against those left-handed bats. And I wouldn't have any issues with you going to a Cleveland stack today. You got guys like Cesar Hernandez. Jordan Luplow really crushes left-handed pitching, so him specifically is going to be an interesting option. Jose Ramirez, Framil Reyes, those three guys are going to be the top options in the slate. And then you go to Harold Ramirez at the bottom of the order. Ahmed Rosario hits left-handed pitching really well. Austin Hedges hits left-handed pitching really well for a catcher. And you could definitely be looking to those guys today. Yeah. Then you got on that same game, Sam Hentges taking on first Madison Bumgarner taking on Los Angeles Dodgers. Has been giving up a lot of hard contact as well, specifically to right-handed hitting. So these Dodgers righties, no issues you'd be targeting them tonight. Mookie Betts, Justin Turner, Will Smith, Chris Taylor, Sheldon Neuse, DJ Peters, all the above. You can be going to them. No issues with that at all. My favorite by far would be Justin Turner. Matches left-handed pitching. Chris Taylor also hits left-handed pitching really well. You got Sheldon Neuse, he hits left-handed pitching well. Those guys. Mookie Betts is a guy that actually traditionally hits right-handed pitching better. Can definitely still target him because of the hard contact issues from Bumgarner, but just keep in mind, something people may not know, Mookie Betts is actually a lot better against those right-handed pitchers than lefties. Sam Hentges taking on the Los Angeles Angels. A lot of hard contact given up specifically to righties. A 659 slugging, given up 41.9% hard contact rate, 450 WOBA, 38.7% fly ball rate. And he's a lot better against lefties, but against those right-handed bats on Los Angeles Angels, this is definitely going to be an intriguing stack tonight. They come in with a 4.84 implied run total. And Mike Trout is going to be in a tremendous spot tonight. Love him. Anthony Rendon mashes lefties. Love him. And Mike Trout's been slumping lately. You know, quote-unquote slumping. I think he's got out like 13 times in a row something. For Mike Trout, that's just unheard of. And he's going to be in a great spot to break out of that tonight. So I would highly recommend having some exposure, if at all possible, to Mike Trout if you're building multiple lineups. Jose Iglesias, Justin Upton at the bottom of the order. Kurt Suzuki, they all hit left-handed pitching really well. Taylor Ward at the top of the lineup. Definitely going to be an intriguing stack tonight when you're factoring in Hentges' struggles early on. Only a 13 innings pitch sample size, but you know, the kid's really been struggling so far against those right-handed bats. So I think it's a valid thing to be jumping on while you can. And then that's when things kind of go downhill for us. We had mentioned we would like those lefties for the Washington Nationals taking on Alzolay in Chicago. The wind blowing in directly from right field. It's a little scary going there, but you can still play them. When you got guys like Juan Soto, Kyle Schwarber, Josh Bell, with the amount of power that they have, they could definitely hit it through the wind and get it out of Chicago. But a little unfortunate with that wind, and not as excited to play them as I would be if that wasn't the case. So with all of that being said, that is my overall breakdown of this 8-game slate today. Before I let you guys go, I got to give you my home run call of the day. Let's get into it. My home run call of the day today is going to be Anthony Rendon taking on Sam Hentges. I had mentioned really struggling against right-handed hitting early on. A 659 slugging, given up with a 41.9% hard contact rate, 450 WOBA, only a 38.7% fly ball rate. Not going to get the job done against those right-handed hitters that really mash left-handed pitching. And Anthony Rendon definitely checks the list as far as that's concerned. Mashes lefties, and when looking at how he fares against Hentges stuff, on average, Hentges is going to throw about a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Anthony Rendon absolutely mashes that pitch. A 909 ISO with a 713 WOBA, 66.67 hard contact percentage. And then as far as his secondary stuff, he's really reliant on going to the curveball, and Anthony Rendon crushes that pitch as well. A 316 ISO with a 300 WOBA. Love this spot for Anthony Rendon, and he is my home run call of the day. So there you have it, guys. Anthony Rendon, get him in your lineups, and that is all for me in this one. If you did enjoy the content, if you could please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, that would be greatly appreciated. And then don't forget to check out my KJK DFS links, link below in the description, my premium content, all of the above. Got a lot more other stuff for you to check out down there. Wish you all the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.